As I said, I wanted to follow up on the story. We asked Tom Moncare about this earlier on. It was a big deal yesterday. We asked you, what do you do in a situation like this? What should happen? So again, just to refresh your memory, Federal Cabinet Minister Melanie Joly, minding her own business, walking down the street on a Sunday afternoon on Laurier, when a guy comes up behind her on a bike on the sidewalk and basically starts confronting her, harassing her, pick any word you want, and shoves a cell phone in her face and looking for an answer. He's going on about Free Palestine and talking about a variety of things. And then what happens is, and obviously remember, and I think it needs to be pointed out, right? She's a federal cabinet minister. So first of all, we're wondering what happened to security here. But regardless, she tries to get the phone out of her face. And I think he said at one point, the man, the one who accosted her, that she attacked him because she grabbed his sleeve or something. So we thought, okay, let's say this happens to you on the street. Who's right? Who's wrong? What defines personal space? And what can you do when that space is not respected? Eric Sutton is a criminal defense attorney. He's on the line. Thanks so much for being here this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Good day.
Can you explain, first of all, with respect to personal space, does that exist as a legal term?
It's not really a legal term, but there's no question that there has to be common sense notion of what is your personal space. You can't extend it beyond what would be unreasonable. But if someone shoves their face up to your face or a cell phone up to your nose, they have transgressed your personal space, and you might feel threatened or might feel on the verge of being assaulted, and you would have a right to use reasonable means to defend yourself. So it's not like you can say it's 12 inches or 1 meter, or there's no sort of measurement. It has to be reasonable. But I think we all know when you feel your space has been violated or transgressed. You know it, And I watched the video, and my sense was that this person had gone too far. And I don't think this was a chance encounter either. I don't think it was just this person
does that make a difference?
Well, no, I don't think we know the whole story, but it would make a difference if this was reviewed by the police and they felt that she had been assaulted, that this person might have kind of hunted her down or been stalking her and waiting for this moment, But I can't say that the conversation. I didn't find the person necessarily aggressive in his tone, but nonetheless, it does appear that this person went too far in terms of respecting someone's personal space, and putting a cell phone up to someone's face, it could be seen as threatening. I mean, if it touches you, then you've been assaulted, and it came very close to that, because you can see she just stretched her arm out a little bit, and it appears to me more to block the camera than to grab the phone. But he seems to say, you're grabbing my phone, you can't do that. I hear this, I see this a lot in videos, and I hear it a lot in the audio. You really don't know what necessarily happened or what went on. The quote unquote victim might be inventing language to make it appear that they are in fact a victim. So.
From what I read, and this is a quote directly from Melanie Joly, that at one point this person, right, and remember, this was not a casual meeting, he said to her, "My job is to harass you." Does that change anything?
Well, yes, it shows that he might have an intent to do it, but even if you intend on harassing someone, if you don't actually, quote unquote, harass them according to what constitutes harassment in the criminal code, you wouldn't be committing a crime even if that was your intention. I don't think by what he asked her, stated to her, that you would conclude, especially being a politician, she's a public figure, so she's probably more accustomed to being maybe called out on certain issues. Did he go too far? Did he cross the line? Was he harassing her? Like I said, if this was not a chance encounter, if he was sort of waiting outside her, I don't know if this is her residence, but then you would start getting closer to a possible case of harassment. His gestures are somewhat aggressive, but do they cross the line into harassment? I don't know. It would depend on how she felt. If she felt threatened, then he may have gone too far. but I doubt very much that she's going to want to file a complaint with the police.
On the other hand, could he, in fact, he's the one who said you're assaulting me, I think, right? Could he, in fact, go ahead and try to plead
He
that
could
in case?
try. I'm not sure the police would be terribly sympathetic.
Okay.
From what you see on the video, she's acting somewhat defensively.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with if someone is filming you from trying to block their camera. I mean, you can do that. You can't try and damage their phone or grab it and throw it away, but you can certainly block their camera.
Last question, because we're going to run out of time. Let's say this happens to just an average citizen on the street, and you talked about personal space, whatever that definition might be. You use the word reasonable for what your reaction might be. What's reasonable?
Well, that's what I mean. You have to look at the context. On the street, you expect, and if you're in a crowded bar, it's a little, the space is a lot smaller, Someone might have to put their face up right up to yours before you could say, I feel threatened, or he's on the verge of assaulting me. Out on the street, it doesn't look like it was a crowded, it was a regular day. If someone comes right up to you, I mean, it's hard to define, but if they're less than arm's length, I'd say they've gone too far. They're in your space. But it doesn't mean that you have the right to do something atrocious, but you might act defensively in that context, and I think that's what she did.
So pushing someone out of your space, as I hear you describe it, would that be considered too far?
If someone really, if you felt somewhat threatened, reasonably so,
right?
Because someone is then you could push them back.
Okay.
I don't think the police would see fit to charge you for doing that.
Based on what you saw, Eric, is this over? Do you think?
I think it is. I don't think from her standpoint that she wants to take this any further. And I understand this fellow doesn't want to reveal his identity. So I don't think he wants to go to the police, because if you go to the police, you have to identify yourself.
All right. Criminal defense attorney Eric Sutton. Eric, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.